Big, vicious, historic, all words used to describe Hurricane Florence as the Category 4 monster barrels toward the East Coast. The track shifting south overnight, but Virginia not out of the woods just yet. Andrew's new guidance just in and moments away.
And it's a mad rush to get out of the coastal areas, and it's causing some traffic nightmares on the roads and the rails here at home. We're live with a look at what evacuees are facing.
And as those residents evacuate, we'll show you how Airbnb is offering relief to those impacted by Florence.
On your side, this is NBC 12 News Today.
All right, just before 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning, as you can see, we are tracking Florence, watching this storm move in toward the East Coast.
And as we've been doing all week here, we've got team coverage for you this morning. Our Alex Whitler is talking about the travel happening on I-64 today. Kelly Avellino talking about Amtrak, the rail services. Our Candace Smith talking about Airbnb and some shelter issues. But of course, we want to start with Andrew, who's got our first look at Florence.
Okay, and we told you yesterday morning that the forecast for rain was dropping. It continues to drop for us as the latest on Florence continue to show that the track is shifting to the south. That means lesser impacts up here in Virginia and up toward D.C., greater threats in North Carolina and down towards South Carolina now. That track is shifting to the south. Now, the landfall might not be a real classic landfall. It may kind of hover near the coast, but it gets closest Thursday into the Thursday night and early Friday. Heavy rain still a threat for us at times Friday into Saturday. I'm not saying we're going to go out and have the most beautiful weekend ever, but with the Carolina landfall, our threat of heavy rain and tropical storm winds continues to go down a little bit. There still is a concern there could be 40-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts. That'd be a tropical storm wind gust in southern Virginia. Let's watch out at Emporia, in Mecklenburg, over to Southampton County near Franklin. Southern Virginia has a bigger threat of tropical storm winds. I want to show you the latest here. It's Category 4, 130 miles an hour, kind of dipping a little bit, but should re-strengthen a bit during the day today. Forecast from the Hurricane Center has a Category 4 working its way toward the coastline, but then it's an absolutely sort of mesmerizing forecast track after that, because with a lack of steering currents, a huge area of high pressure to the north of us, this storm doesn't know where it wants to go. It's just going to sort of linger off the coast. Now, I've covered up with my Friday note and Saturday note, basically Wilmington, North Carolina. And so you're looking at the potential strongest impacts here, south of Hatteras down to Wilmington, even down to Myrtle Beach. And this is something that could linger for days. So you could have a Category 3, maybe weakening to a 2, and then a tropical storm somewhere near the coastline here. And this has the potential to absolutely decimate some communities down there. It's a bad track for southern North Carolina and northern South Carolina. We'll get to more on Florence in a moment and how that track improves our weather. But right now, it's flat out pouring on top of us, and Candace was showing you the slowdowns over to Variety. I'm going to use the on-screen buttons here and zoom in. I mean, this is a downpour sitting now right on top of the eastern side of Henrico County, Pocahontas Parkway, Route 5, Charles City Road. Now, that, I think, is going to lift up to the city, at the very least, the eastern part of the city. So today's forecast is one that has a shower chance now, and then an afternoon chance. The rain chance this afternoon only about 30%. I think most of us miss out on rain today, and if it does rain today in the afternoon, it's not going to be anywhere near as crazy as what we had yesterday late in the day. It's going to be hot again, 87 for the high temperature with partly sunny skies. Another day to sweat as we prepare for potential impacts from Florence. Sarah, over to you.
Okay, we will get ready. Thank you, Andrew. Some schools have already made some decisions about class given Hurricane Florence. So take a look. Richmond, Henrico, and Hanover have all announced they are going to stay closed on Friday. We're still waiting to hear from Chesterfield and school systems in the Tri-Cities. But remember, that full list of closings is always scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and we keep it updated by the minute on our NBC 12 News app.
That we have it on the go. And thousands of people are making their way here from the Hampton Roads area, evacuating the Virginia coast.
Yeah, Alex Whitler joins us live. She's on I-64 with a look at what those evacuees are facing. How's the traffic moving, Alex?
Yeah, good morning, Sarah. We're seeing it pick up a little bit of speed now here at the 6 a.m. hour. We know that I-64 has been congested because of this widening project. But now if you mix that in with the number of people coming from the coast, you can imagine that it's causing quite a bit of a headache for drivers. Many of you have even been calling our newsroom. Some of you who live in Chesterfield or Eastern Henrico and commute to Williamsburg or Hampton Roads have called our newsroom telling us that yesterday's evening commute was one of the worst you've ever seen. VDOT even reported several accidents from yesterday along 64. A normally 45, 50-minute work commute turned into a 2-3 hour traffic backup. And viewers even sent us this video right here that you're watching of the congestion on Route 60 in eastern Henrico. Just take a look at all those people coming from the beach and heading toward Richmond. Now, we know many businesses and schools in the Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area have decided to close. So keep that in mind. You're probably going to see a lot more traffic pickup. We're seeing it get busier now in this 6 a.m. hour. So be aware of that, not just on I-64, but also on Route 60. Again, we're on your side and live this morning. Alex Whitler, NBC 12 News.
Okay, thanks for that update, Alex. We know you'll keep watching. Hurricane Florence is also impacting Amtrak service. Some routes have been canceled, some have been changed.
Yeah, and for more information on that, let's check in with our Kelly Avellino in our First Alert Center. Kelly?
All right, well, listen up. This is important if you're traveling using a train service. Amtrak is modifying service south of D.C. beginning today and extending through Sunday. Northeast Regional Service will not operate south of D.C. Today, the auto train route from Lorton, Virginia to Sanford, Florida is canceled as well. And there are many other routes running through North Carolina and southward that are also now canceled or running on a modified schedule. You can check our NBC 12 News app for a full list. Amtrak says impacted riders will be switched to other trains with similar routes for no cost at all. You can check your train status on Amtrak.com or the Amtrak app. You can also call Amtrak's customer service line at 800 USA Rail if you've got any questions about rescheduling or refunds. Sarah?
Hopefully we can all stay patient and helpful as we get through this together. Thank you, Kelly. Well, from Virginia to the Carolinas, thousands are evacuating the coastal areas ahead of the storm, so there will be traffic. Ben Smart with our sister station in Wilmington is there as mandatory evacuations are underway. He has that part of our team coverage.
Here on US 74, evacuations are underway as people leave Wilmington while Hurricane Florence approaches. There's headlights as far as the eye can see. Slow-moving traffic as thousands heed the warnings to get out. A sign on the highway reads, "Vehicles parked on shoulder will be towed in advance of hurricane." Congestion on the roadways heading away from the coast. Almost no one driving toward the approaching hurricane. Gas stations are populated like mini communities, a place for people to rest, grab some food, and fill up the gas tank. Dogs and other pets not left behind. Some happy to share their plans for evacuation. Others focused on the goal and their families.
We're basically planning on staying until the roads are clear to come back. And we hope to come back to a house, but we don't think there's going to be much of a house left.
New Hanover County emergency officials say you should be either evacuated or in a safe place by 8 p.m. Wednesday night. Reporting on the side of US 74, I'm Ben Smart.
And as we talk about evacuations, there are some free and safe places for those impacted by the storm to seek shelter.
All right, we're going to help you out. Candace in the social media center with the new details. Tell us what's going on, Candace.
Well, Airbnb, they're offering relief to those impacted by Florence. Airbnb's Open Homes program allows you to find temporary housing with local Airbnb hosts free of charge. Right now, this is only being offered in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and right here in Virginia. So all you have to do, if we come back out, is go to airbnb.com/openhomes. And once you go to that website, it will take you right there, and then you can fill in and sign up for that information. And I was reading the webpage. They said they've helped over 11,000 families already with this service. There you go, over 11,000 people displaced. So a pretty cool thing and neat thing if you need this. So open homes here, Airbnb. We'll put more information about this story a little later on our NBC 12 News app. Anthony?
Good stuff, Candace. Valuable information. And at 6:07 here this morning, as Hurricane Florence inches closer to the coast, much of Pocosin is under mandatory evacuation orders. And if you walk around town, you'll find that a lot of people are choosing to ignore these orders. Some homeowners say they're used to this flooding, and many of them say that whatever Florence brings won't be any worse than what already happened during Isabel. Take Mike Jenkins, for example. He's among some of these people, and he says he has a good reason why.
Last time on Isabel, they had a big problem with people looting and coming down here and stealing stuff. It's my home, you know. If I can be here to stop something from happening or help it, I will.
We got no choice. You know, if it shifts, it's going to be ugly.
And Ben Vanderberry of Norfolk is one of the thousands who are following those evacuation orders. And as we continue to track Florence, make sure you download our weather app right now. If you already have it, the last 2 days you were waking up to some good news because as Andrew has been following this storm, it's been tracking further south. Get that valuable information when you need it the most. Go ahead and download that here today.
All right. right, and time now for our first check on the roads. Candace has been watching some flooding, some fog this morning. Let's get over to that First Alert Traffic Center with a look at conditions. What's going on, Candace?
Well, so you mentioned all of that. We also have this accident that we're following. This is here 95 southbound at the Ashland exit at mile marker 92. Crews still on the shoulder. At one point we were blocking that right lane. That has since been moved over here to the right shoulder. So not a huge traffic impact, but I just want you to be mindful of them working in this area and to try to stay at least in the center and left travel lane. We have some roads shut down in Hanover and Chesterfield due to flooding. We'll talk more about that in just a few. Andrew?
All right, we're over here checking out the latest on the tropics, right? This is the big story here as Florence is out there churning. This is a monster storm. It's a Category 4, and a Category 4 that doesn't show any signs of weakening until it gets really close to the coastline. I think I've got the wrong computer, guys. If we can switch it over here and go to Weather 1, that'd be helpful. No, Weather 1 is showing the forecast. What do we got? All right, here we go. Thank you very much. And this is a map that shows you where there are watches and warnings, and there aren't any in and around the Richmond metro right now. However, for those of you in the northern neck where the water has been high all week long, you're under a coastal flood advisory. This one's been reissued. The coastal flood advisory for potential 1 foot of water above ground level now in Middlesex County, Matthews, and Gloucester as well. That coastal flood advisory, I know it says 6 in the morning there, but that now goes through the afternoon. This is down at the beach. And if you're heading down to the beach, you're going to find a ton of traffic there. They have a tropical storm watch in effect. They could get a storm surge 1 to 3 feet. I think in spots it could be 5 feet down here. They have the potential for tropical storm winds, which would be a 40 to 75 mile an hour wind, and also flooding rain potential down here. Tornadoes, also something to watch for, and that's something we're going to be watching for us here as well. The hurricane watches are the Carolina coastline with this storm system a Category 4, 130 mile an hour sustained winds. And as we've been talking all morning, the trend is our friend up here in Virginia. We're not in that cone of concern anymore. We still think we're going to get rain from this and some gusty winds, but the devastation is going to occur when this thing stalls near the coastline and then slowly either works its way inland or stays along the coast for days. Very bad situation, but the huge rain totals now look like they'll be 20 inches or so in North Carolina and South Carolina, and not for us. For us, we get a closer to normal 4 to 5 inch rain forecast for Friday and Saturday. In fact, I've even dropped some days from our First Alert weather days. I'll have that for you coming up in the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes. Back over to you.
All right, Andrew, thanks. And Andrew, speaking of that heavy rain, a lot of people at home are wondering if Richmond will need to close the flood wall when that heavy rain associated with Hurricane Florence reaches the city. And that's a valid question. Coming up, we spoke exclusively to the new director of the city's Department of Public Utilities, what he says would have to happen for the flood wall to close. And let's take a live look at Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. Right now, they're under a hurricane warning as Florence approaches. We're going to check back in with Andrew for the latest after this quick break. But Sarah, what do you got?
Hey, I want to show you something real quick. Head over to Facebook or Instagram. Make sure you grab this Get Ready checklist from one of our sites. A lot of you have been playing along. You can screen grab this checklist, and then you can tell us how you're doing on getting ready. Some of you with a sense of humor here, but let me pull this up. This is Christy's list. She still needs to get some cash and get some gas, but Christy, you're well on your way. Let us know how you're doing. We're back after this.